Hi, it's Chris from The One Question here. I've got Mike with me, our CEO. Mike, I'm really keen to talk to you today about employee feedback. What's wrong with just doing a yearly appraisal?
There's nothing wrong with that deep dive yearly survey where everyone is forced to sit down and fill in long bits of paper and say that everything's happy in the world. But in terms of actually actioning that and making, not losing staff, the cost of replacing staff nowadays is more than ever. My problem, I suppose, with yearly surveys is there's 364 days between them. Therefore, an awful lot happens in that time period. But more so, I tend to find those yearly surveys tend to get shared with the line managers, and therefore staff are guarded to maybe say what they think's really going on or how they really feel, etc., etc. And again, those surveys are not there for the benefit of the member of staff. Those surveys are there for the company to have metrics in a spreadsheet and for the HR director to, show that they care, etc. And it's all vanity. Whereas for us, there's the way to lose less staff is actively and passively asking them how they feel. So what I mean by that is send them regular surveys, and by regular I'm talking maybe once a month, not once every year, that just say to a member of staff, how do you feel? They literally can click on a face and just say I'm happy or I'm unhappy or I'm actively happy, and they can say why they feel that way. That feedback goes straight to the HR department, so it's not sterilised, not going through line managers who don't pass the message on, and then the HR department should communicate directly with the member of staff. So that's active feedback, because most of the time people don't just come into a job and just suddenly decide to leave in a day. It generally, they are molehills that become mountains, and therefore a lot of the time you can turn around little problems before they become big problems. So that's the active side. So companies going out to their staff and constantly saying, how do you feel, everything okay? We also advocate passive. So in other words, staff are empowered to know that at any point they can give their company feedback. So, for example, we actually put on the back of our ID badges like a little QR code that staff can just click on with their phones and say how they feel. And they know that it's safe, secure, they're going to get a response. There's actually an action that comes from it. And it's not all negative either. Sometimes, you literally get people going, I love working here. And that's great, because they're the kind of people you might want to say, have you got any friends that you want to, we're looking to recruit and tell the world, etc., etc. So for me, annual surveys are one thing, but if you're looking to actually lose less staff, and more importantly keep your best staff, is show you care. And showing you care is saying how do you feel and doing something about it. I
think a really good point there is that kind of proactive versus reactive approach, which is that you are stopping problems become huge issues by just being a wee bit more regular with it. And I mean, once a month isn't too much to ask, right?
No, not at all. And actually, if they don't want to fill it in, they don't obviously have to. It's not mandated, which is important as well. But actually, it shows you care. Only if you follow it up, it shows you care. But you should be following those things up. And staff should know that when they tell you how they feel, that you're going to do something about it. But just ask them how they feel. Don't start asking them, how they feel their last risk assessment went, or whether or not they've had. That's a completely different thing. Is at the end of the day, it's about them and their happiness, because people don't leave because their office is 1 degree too cold. So therefore, don't ask them stupid questions, and just say, how are you? How do you feel? And then you'll find that you start getting some proper answers.
Thanks so much for that, Mike. That's it for today's Upbeat. If you've got a question or you'd like to be featured on Upbeat, feel free to drop me an email, chris@theonequestion.com. Have a wonderful day.